Our global business editor, Udayan Mukherjee, joining us now for a take on the markets and all the latest. Udayan, what are you making of it? Last couple of sessions, we've seen some amount of stability. IT seems to be making a bit of a comeback as well. In fact, we've seen a pretty decent broad-based recovery so far, but it may be too early to tell.
Yes, Abha. I think this was on the cards because I think this fundamental starting point of this pullback that we've seen from around 15,300 to 15,900 is that there was just too much consensus pessimism on the market. You asked anybody last week, what's the market going to do? And there was almost a chorus of 14,000 Nifty which had built up. When there is so much consensus bearishness and almost a unanimity of view that the market's going to 14,000 next, the market is always likely to surprise and jerk you on the other side, and that's exactly what has happened. So I think a large part of the genesis of this pullback, of course it helps that global markets have stabilized over the last few days, and there has been a pullback in the US market, and there has been a cooling down of the VIX in the US, the volatility index there, but that's also helped this rally. But I think there was just too much bearishness out here in India, which is not to say that that view should be dismissed and the market cannot go to those levels, but it was setting up the base for this kind of a pullback rally. What has also added to it, I suppose, is the fact that crude has had a 10% plus kind of a correction, which always helps sentiment in India. Monsoons have picked up a bit. Some of the recent economic data which has come in, the factory data, etc., has also been quite encouraging. So I think it's a mix of a few things fundamental, which is the economic data, the price of crude, etc. But I think a great part of that is because of the bearishness which had picked up, which had really peaked last week, for which this market had to give a snap pullback. And of course, the fact that global markets have also been supportive.
Okay. So are we still, however, tracking any signs of an impending recession, Udayan, or do you say that those fears or clouds have receded for the moment?
Which of us can say whether there will be a recession in the West or not? I mean, this is all conjecture. I mean, I'm no great global economist. Economists will make forecasts. We'll find out later whether it came down to a recession or not. I think it's safe to assume that economic conditions will remain quite sticky in the Western world for quite a few months from here on. How bad it gets, we'll see from here. Whether there are still risks in India of a further downside in the market, I think that risk is still open. But it's an evolving situation. At this point in time, one should not get too ahead of oneself about making predictions. I think it's an evolving bear market. Don't get too excited about the rallies. Don't get too despondent when the market slips off. This too will pass, whether it takes 6 months or 9 months or 12 months, we shall see. It's best to think about how one's portfolio needs to be tailored and how much cash one should be deploying on the declines. Those are more useful things to ponder over rather than thinking about great things like global recessions and whether they'll come about or not.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.